Large man, tiny car. This is going to be interesting. What's up, everybody, and welcome to Finally Legal. In this series, we drive the JDM legends that are, well, finally legal. So my good friend Kei from Socal Motion Vehicle Importers called me up recently. He said he saw this series of videos and that he had something we might be interested in driving. And you know what? He was absolutely right. This is a 1992 Suzuki Cappuccino. The Suzuki Cappuccino is what's known as an ABC car. And there's a lot to unpack in that statement, so let's get into it. ABC here stands for A, AutoZone AZ1, B, Honda Beat, and C, Suzuki Cappuccino. All three of these cars are Kei roadsters that came out of Japan's bubble era. Kei cars, or Kei Jidosha, is a Japan-only vehicle classification that basically describes a very tiny city car. Kei cars, by law, can be no larger than 3.3 meters long, 1.4 meters wide, and 2 meters tall. Engine size, again by law, is capped at 660 cc's, and power output can be no greater than 63 horsepower. So if you see a modern Kei car, they're just tall boxes, able to sit 4 adults comfortably, and they can park just about anywhere. But this Cappuccino was designed during Japan's bubble era. It was a magical time when the country was flush with cash, everyone was drunk on champagne, and reckless spending was encouraged. I mean, buying dumb, irresponsible things was encouraged, and let's be honest, that's why the bubble burst. Anyway, what's more irresponsible than a 2-seat roadster designed to carry only you and your favorite hostess? But there's still a ton of smart thinking in this car. Let's start with that roof. The Cappuccino gives you 4 different roof styles, all stock and all in one. You got your standard hardtop, T-tops, a target top, and finally, you can fold the back window down to make this car a full convertible. And for the serious driver, this Cappuccino packs a serious punch. 63 horsepower may sound weak, but when the entire car weighs just 1,500 pounds, it's more than plenty. So let's talk about that engine for a sec. No shock here, it's a 660cc 3-cylinder. But here, it also gets dual overhead cams and a turbo. Because of its compact size, it's able to sit behind the front axles, effectively making this a front midship chassis. And with the driver inside, well, at least a driver who's lighter than I am, it's said that the Suzuki has a perfect 50-50 weight balance front to rear. So essentially, that makes this Cappuccino a street legal go-kart. It's small inside too. And for those of us who are American-sized, there's some setup needed. What surprised me is that stock, there's plenty of legroom, and the steering wheel and shifter fall into the right spots too. But in order to get me to fit, Kei had to remove that driver's side door armrest. And as it is, my right leg still sits right on the door. Also, headroom is lacking, so I'm way hunched over when driving this thing. So, with a car this small, you think it would be kind of cramped, and yes and no. As you can probably tell, my head is hitting the roof here. I am 6'1". I am a bit taller than the average Japanese male, the mid-1990s. But it's still not too bad. My friend, who's also an American dude, he actually told me the pedal box is kind of small, so wear some skinny shoes. But I think maybe he was exaggerating because the pedal box to me feels fine. But maybe it is because I'm wearing skinny shoes and not wearing my big fat old skate shoes, so who knows. Let's give this thing some gas. Oops. Don't edit that out. Now, it's not a lot of power, but man, it feels just right for this car. Now, one thing I love about this little Cappuccino is it really does feel like a go-kart. I mean, people say that about the Miata, but the Miata dwarfs this thing. But there are some things you gotta watch out for when driving a Kei car, especially in the US. The Cappuccino is small, old, and weighs nothing. I personally would be way too afraid to take it on the freeway. I mean, this thing would be toast if an F-150 so much as looked at it funny. All said, this car is a hell of a lot of fun, and given how cheap they run, it may be one of the best driving values around. As always, thanks again for watching this episode of Finally Legal. And hey, you know the drill. Hit those like and subscribe buttons and comment below to tell us what you want to see next.